Should the Saints have reservations about trading Sean Payton to the Carolina Panthers within the division? Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Should the Saints withhold Sean Payton from a division opponent? Let's ask New Orleans football, Nick Underhill, Mike Triplett. Let's ask them what they think. React with all of you.
We've heard a lot from people tied to the team that they would be willing to trade Sean to a division rival. The price would just go up from there. But it's one thing to say it. It's one thing to actually execute that trade and have this guy living in your division. You got to face him 2 times a year. He's gonna be there. And
all right, I'm putting you on the spot right now. I'm giving you the packages.
Go ahead.
Denver. Here's the problem with Denver is Denver seems kind of perfect. Ship him off to the AFC, where he might not win right away because he's in the most competitive division in football. You don't have to worry about Sean Payton as much winning a Super Bowl next year and throwing it in your face. But here's what Denver's offering you. They're offering you their 2/3 this year, which are really early thirds, their own and the Colts. I think they're top 5 third-round picks. And then next year you get their 1st and 3rd. That's what you get from Denver.
Okay, I love this. This is great. This is a great video. Now, I haven't seen this, obviously. Okay, so we're going to listen to the packages. We're going to hear what's proposed, and then we're going to break down which one we would want to go to. Now, before we get to that, let's talk about the Panthers. I personally would have no trouble shipping Sean Payton to Carolina. I think at this point now you have to just get what you can get. You can't worry about where he goes, and you can't worry about who's in your division. You know, like you look at like the NFC West, right? When Sean McVay was there and Kyle Shanahan was there and everyone was rocking and rolling, it's just going to happen. You can't worry about who's in the division, who's doing what. You can't try and block teams. You know, Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh and Zach Taylor all in the AFC North. It's just going to happen. You can't control that kind of stuff. So if they're the suitor and they have the best package, I don't think you say no just because you have to face Sean Payton twice a year. You have to be confident in your ability to utilize those picks, turn those picks around into good players, and to go from there. So let's look. So the Denver package, 2/3, early thirds, a 1st-round pick next year, and a 3rd-round pick next year. Is that what he said? Let's listen to what he said again.
That's what you get from Denver. And then next year you get their 1st and 3rd. That's what you get from Denver.
So 2/3 this year at 1st.
3/3 at 1st and some good thirds for whatever that's worth. 3/3 and a 1st.
Okay, good package. I think that's a lot.
1st this year instead. If you want, it might be 31st though because it belongs to the Niners. Carolina's giving you the 9th and a 2nd next year, but you're sending them to the division. But you're getting that 9th pick this year.
If I'm a different,
okay, if that's the 2 packages, if that's what I'm offered, okay. I love having the 9th pick, but I'm not sure what I would do with it. Because this year I'm not like totally sold on the quarterbacks, which is what you want, you know, that high up. I think you may, if it was me, if I had the 9th overall pick and I was the Saints, I would probably trade down, get more capital for like next year and a couple years moving forward. And I would take, you know, if I could trade from 9 to like 16 and then take a defensive lineman or someone to help the secondary out, a defensive player to kind of anchor that, especially like a pass rusher. I'd have to look at the big board, but that's probably what I would do with that package. It's dangerous to say like I'd take the Broncos next year because if you're trading Payton, you're assuming they're going to win relatively quickly with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. So next year's Broncos pick probably ain't going to be that good. If I gun to my head right now, what was the other thing? A 1st this year and a 2nd next year?
To the division, but you're getting that 9th pick and a 2nd next year.
Okay, I'd take that. I would take the 9th overall this year and a 2nd next year, and I'd probably parlay that 1st this year into more capital moving forward. So out of those 2 picks, I'd trade them to Carolina, say good luck. There is a way bigger chance that he succeeds within the next 5 years with Denver than he succeeds within the next 5 years at Carolina, barring if he goes to Carolina and they go get like Lamar Jackson or somebody, which I think is possible.
Sure. But you're sending him to the division, but you're getting that 9th pick this year.
If I'm a different GM, I probably take the Denver one because I think the optics of it matter as it pertains to my job security. I think that would matter a lot. Mickey is so secure in his position here that I don't think that he has the same pressure on him. I think that he's earned his stripes. He's kind of a little bit above that fray a little bit. So I would probably.
So I talked about this with Mickey, or I talked about this on a video about Mickey, I think a week ago or so. But I was talking about how for Saints fans, you know, they want blood. They want blood for this last season and the performance. They want a new offensive coordinator. They want a new quarterback. They want a new head coach. They want to do this. They want to do that. And they want it quick. And I was saying that, you know, a general manager who feels like their job is on the line would probably do that. They would probably say, like, damn, I can't do this another year. And Mickey, from what I could see at the time, was doing the opposite. He was basically saying, like, I can give Dennis and Pete another year. I'm safe. I'm secure. I can do that. We can take our time with this rebuild. On one hand, that is very unique to have a GM and an ownership group that's pretty comfortable with a long rebuild. Now, I don't know how the fans are going to feel about that, but that's certainly where it seems like Loomis is coming from. So I agree with Nick. I don't think Loomis gives a shit about the optics, about his job security, about any of that stuff. And I don't think he would bat an eye at shipping Sean to the Panthers. If we know Sean's going to walk, which we do, then you got to get the most you can get for him now and worry about the rest later. If you're that concerned about Sean Payton going to Carolina and making them successful and that you can't be better than them, that's pretty damning as a GM, pretty damning as an organization. I've heard rumors about David Tepper in Carolina, that's the owner of the Carolina Panthers, wanting to make a run at Lamar Jackson. I'd be very scared of a Lamar Jackson, Sean Payton duo in Carolina. I think that would be scary to play two times a year. But it was scary to play Michael Vick 2 times a year when he was in Atlanta. So it's scary to play Tom Brady two times a year in Tampa Bay. Can't worry about that stuff, especially right now. Time is of the essence. Give me the 9th overall pick. Give me the next year's 2nd. And let's flip that 9th.
Probably if I'm Mickey, I probably take the Carolina one, and I look at it like this. Look, I got to get my team better. At some point or another, if Sean succeeds, I'm going to have to deal with him if I succeed anyhow. So he's going to be out there, and at some point, your paths might cross anyhow. It would be hard, though, having him in the division. And if I'm the GM, though, like I'm just kind of answering that as Mickey.
Yeah.
If I'm the GM, I absolutely do not want to see this man twice a year. It's just... Look, I might be able to beat him to the quarterback, and I think it is a serious race to the quarterback in this division. Every single team, now that Tom Brady probably is leaving, and even
Brady's out. Brady's out in Tampa. So your 4 quarterbacks are not good. You know, like the division's quarterback as a whole, maybe the worst conglomerate of quarterbacks in any division in the NFL. And it is a race to that. The guy who, or the team that gets the best quarterback, the team that gets the next stud, that team is going to win a lot of division titles. It's like Jacksonville right now. You look around the NFC South, it's a bunch of bad and Trevor Lawrence. They're probably going to win that division a whole lot unless someone else gets better. The NFC South is in that mode, you know, where it's going to be the race to that dominant quarterback. And with the free agents that are out there, it is kind of scary to put Sean Payton there. You know, it is kind of scary for that. But Loomis can't be scared of that. I mean, I just don't think at this point, like playing him twice a year is just something you're going to have to deal with. And for that compensation, you got to do it. But when you do it, then you got to know, okay, the rebuild just got a lot shorter because I can't just wait. I can't just punt a couple years, let Sean Payton and the Panthers kick my ass. I can't let that happen, right? I can't do that. So if I'm going to ship Sean Payton, I have to have a plan to turn this thing around within the next 16 months.
If Brady stays, that's short term, a year or two, and they need one. So it is a race to who gets the quarterback.
The whole division, you're exactly right.
And if you get 9, you have a shot at it. I don't know if one of those guys falls. Maybe.
I don't think any of the quarterbacks this year are that good. I think next year, when you got your Caleb Williams, your Drake Mays, your players like that, I think you got a legit shot at a stud. This year, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud aren't falling. I think Will Levis could be there at 9. Is Will Levis good? I don't even know if he's good, much less is he that good to change a franchise.
Maybe you can move up to it, but you have a shot at it. The problem with Sean, and look, I do think that we give him a little bit too much credit as like a recruiter of quarterback talent and everything. That's kind of like a thought out there that like, well, if you get Sean, he He never did that here. He got an injured Breeze, and that was
something else with Sean. I love Sean Payton. I think he was amazing. Whatever. Don't want to discredit the man. But he had Drew Brees, maybe the best quarterback of all time, or not besides Tom Brady, maybe the second best quarterback of all time. Let's not get crazy here. And he went back-to-back seasons with 7-9, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Check me on that. Let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure Brees and Payton went 7-9 back-to-back years. So it's not exactly Bill Belichick we're talking about here. If you can lose with Drew Brees, and yes, Brees had some bad defenses, all that stuff. What I'm trying to say is, just because Sean Payton is going somewhere, it doesn't mean it's going to be just nonstop dripping with success and titles. All right, think about how good the Saints were. Think about how good Brees was. Think about all that stuff. Sean got one Super Bowl, the Magic run, and then never came close again to that. A couple NFC Championship game washouts, no more Super Bowl appearances, couple of losing seasons. Like, I think because of this hype narrative, I think we are giving Sean a whole lot of credit that wherever he goes, he's just going to succeed.
That's kind of it, but he does have a better recruiting pitch. And now, let's say the Saints in Sean Payton, Carolina version, both approach Lamar Jackson. They give him similar packages. Yeah. Where are you going? You're going with Sean every single time. So they are behind there. So getting that 9 pick might not put you ahead of them. And Sean probably does have a better chance of getting that quarterback.
I think if you get the 9 pick, the Saints are that much closer to drafting their quarterback. I don't know if they can get Will Levis. I actually just saw another mock draft today that had Will Levis going 9th, but
I think Levis is going to slide. It's a different video for a different day, but I think Levis, as it gets closer, I don't think he's, I'm not claiming to be some draft expert, but I just don't think he's got that top 10. I think he's much more of a project than people are probably willing to put him on.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I'll tell you this. I'd rather have Hendon Hooker at a later round than take Levis in the top 10.
Yeah, I feel like the top 3 quarterbacks go in the top 5. 9th might get you Anthony Richardson.
If Anthony Richardson goes 9th overall, I'll cut my hand off and eat it live on stream.
Their opinion can be all over the map on Anthony Richardson. I don't know.
Nick just had the same. Nick just had the same reaction I did. Anthony Richardson at 9th overall. I am boiling my hand and eating it on stream if that happens.
My heart can take Twitter with Anthony Richardson as the Saints quarterback.
They don't want Will either, because they saw him play Tennessee and the whole opinion of him is based on that.
I'll take Will Levis. Will Levis might end up going number 1 when this is all.
If Will Levis goes number 1, I'll cut my hand off and eat it. Just kidding. We're not trying to eat my hand the whole show. I think Young is the first quarterback that's going to go, and I don't think he's that good. What is he, 5'10", 180? I don't think he's that good. Stroud, I don't know. I mean, I think this quarterback class is very similar to last year, where it's a bunch of guys who had some college success, but not crazy college success. They don't really have what you're looking for in the NFL. Can they be molded? Can they be like Kenny Pickett, for example? Kenny Pickett has had decent success his rookie season. He was the only one of them taken in the first round. If I told you Will Levis was going to be Kenny Pickett, would you want to spend the 9th overall pick on that? I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would spend the 9th overall pick on Kenny Pickett. And Kenny Pickett's been pretty damn good. I just don't think he's like that guy who's going to take a team to the next step. I think I would rather wait and see what happens later, or take a flyer on a Hendon Hooker or something.
All over all the Josh Allen comparisons. But anyway, I don't know if that gets it done. But yeah, if Carolina trades you that 9th pick, absolutely, Sean Payton is getting paired with a veteran. That could be Garoppolo. It could be Tom Brady.
100%. I agree with this. A lot of people keep talking about him going to Carolina or Houston or something, and it's like slow rebuild. That ain't happening. If Sean Payton goes to Carolina, I would assume he's going to get a Lamar Jackson or a Tom Brady or Jimmy Garoppolo or Aaron Rodgers or something like that. And the reason I say that is because I think the ownership groups are pitching these teams to Payton, and the ownership groups are having to say, like, look, if you come here, I promise you these resources. And so he's not going to be able to go somewhere and just flounder and have nothing. He's not going to go to a team where the ownership group hasn't promised something to him. So that's why I expect the big quarterback to follow. not so much because of the big quarterback wanting to go play with Sean, but more the ownership group laying out like, hey, here is our strategy. If you get here, we will promise you these resources, and the main resource is going to be a quarterback.
We've seen that marriage talked about so much. It could be Lamar Jackson. It could be Derek Carr. But it's Sean Payton and a veteran quarterback. If Carolina trades away the ninth pick, I think
Sean probably does.
So they're going to be built to win right away. If I'm the Saints, I'm even willing to give that up. I will let Sean have this year's title if I get to draft my rookie quarterback.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But you're right. You don't want to be behind him for a decade. You know, it's scary. But yeah, you have to look at it myopically. You have to be like, how can we build the team we want to build? And if Carolina's got the picks, now I might have been shortchanging them. If I am Mickey, I think I can talk even tougher with Carolina and mean it, especially if I know I've got Denver as a fallback option. If it comes down to that, but maybe I'm telling him it's 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Frankly, I mean, because you're allowed to tell Carolina the rules are different for you. You really are.
I think you can tell any of these teams. These teams that want Sean are so desperate. Think about who you're talking about. You're talking about the Walton family who just got their ass kicked for a full season, who have $250 million built into Russell Wilson. You're talking to David Tepper, who's never lost in his life, billionaire hedge fund guy, and now he's got his ass kicked with no future, who just bought a team. These are enormous purchases for these billionaire owners. They don't want to lose. So these guys are as desperate gets. If they say a first and 3/3, and you say change that to 2 firsts and a second, or 2 firsts, a third and a second, and they say no, call Carolina, call Denver. Like, you have options. I've said that. I think we are shortchanging ourselves when it comes to what Sean Payton is worth right now. Obviously, next year changes, but right now Denver has to win. They have an aging quarterback who they have $250,000 in. They have to win. Carolina wants to win. So if they want to win, make the trade. And people overvalue draft picks anyways. I don't think David Tepper or the Walton family would give 2 shits about an extra first or an extra second or a thrown in third or whatever if it meant solving their problems.
The thing about Carolina, though, is that you probably aren't just losing Sean. You're probably losing Jeff Ireland, too, in that situation. At least there's a chance of it. He might go with them. So you're getting gutted a little bit there, too. So
you have the rights to Jeff Ireland, though, so you can make the price cost.
He's an
more.
assistant GM, though. I mean,
I see what you're saying. To be the GM.
But yeah, I mean, you probably factor that in, though, that the likelihood. And look, I think the Saints will probably have a pretty good idea if Jeff is actually tied in with him. They probably already know that already. So that becomes part of the asking price. You're right. The thing about getting the 9, though, with Carolina, and you get some of that other stuff, like, you probably do have the ammunition to go up. Theoretically, somebody has to be willing to move, obviously, but if you get a 9 and a 2 when you got your 2, like, you might be able to package your assets together this year to get your.
See, I'd be so, if it was a different class, and maybe I'm wrong on these quarterbacks, time will tell, but I'm always much more likely to move down. I think it's much more beneficial to NFL teams when they move down in drafts, get a player of possibly equal standing, and get future picks. I understand if you have a Cam Newton out there or an Andrew Luck out there or whoever. I understand, like, okay, Joe Burrow's there, do whatever you can, mortgage the franchise, go up. But going up to get a quarterback just because they're a quarterback and you need one, like, how good do we think these guys are? You know, like, is CJ Stroud a franchise quarterback? Is he better than Justin Fields? Does Chicago think Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback? I don't know yet. You got to look at guys who have had decent success in the NFL, and you got to go back and think, like, would I move up? Would I package? Like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's first overall pick. Kyler Murray's a Heisman winning quarterback. Kyler Murray has had success in the NFL. He signed a huge contract. At times, he's looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Young, dynamic, all that stuff. If you knew exactly what you were getting with Kyler Murray, would you trade? Like, would you leverage the franchise to go get that? Has Kyler Murray, who has been really good, made that big of a difference for Arizona? The answer is no. It takes a lot for a quarterback to truly transcend and to take a team to a different level. So just because you happen to have the 9th overall pick this year doesn't mean, like, well, one of these 3 guys has to be a franchise quarterback. One of these guys has to be a generational talent. No, they do not. They absolutely do not. They can is Zach Wilson, is Trevor Lawrence, are any of those players? like any Justin Fields. I mean, like I just said, are any of those players of these draft classes that you thought were just, and we're not really talking about the busts. We're talking about the guys who just get in the league. They're relatively successful. They're or bang average, and their teams just kind of flounder. You know, like I think that's a big misnomer that since you have the pick or since you have the need or a combo of the two, that you have to find your franchise quarterback now. I'd be very, very concerned if we did some serious package to move up and ended up with a Will Levis or a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young.
Quarterback, if you have to. You have future assets as well. And teams are going to look at the same situation and say, oh, well, like you're offering this year's first and next year's first to get to 5. Like you're probably looking at it like that's a pretty good pick. So if they do actually want to move up to get this guy and they want somebody else in the top 10 to drop back 4 spots or 5 spots, you can probably actually do that and get your guy. So that would be the more advantageous situation if you have to get one of these 3 quarterbacks. It might be CJ Stroud that ends up going 3rd actually overall. Like opinions in the scouting community are that it's Alabama, it's Kentucky, and then it's Ohio State as far as you rank in the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The question is that,
man, using the team instead of the name there just blew my mind.
Levis has so much boom or bust with him. I think that also depends on how comfortable some of these GMs feel in their job. Because if you miss on him, you might lose your job, and he might absolutely end up missing. Whereas Stroud,
you know, something else that he kind of just hinted at there. If Loomis is safe, which I think he is, Allen and Carmichael are not safe. So for them to draft a rookie quarterback, that's usually pretty questionable because you want that rookie quarterback to develop. You want that rookie quarterback to kind of chill. You want him to kind of take it slow. But if Allen and Carmichael have to win now to save their jobs, that doesn't exactly match their motivations to package all this stuff to trade for a rookie quarterback who probably won't help them at all for at least the first 10 games. So there will be a little bit of a weird dynamic there if Loomis does pull the trigger on a rookie quarterback to then have Carmichael and Allen have to somehow find success to save their jobs while that asset is still waiting in the wings. So that can be a bit interesting as well.
Is a kind of a safer pick, but it doesn't maybe have as much upside when you kind of project everything.
The problem with mock drafts too is they have to just try to guess how the teams in those current slots are going to operate, and they try to guess. Everybody gives the Texans 1 at 2. Everybody gives the Colts 1 at 4. But somebody's going to love whichever of the quarterbacks doesn't go 2 and 4, and they're going to trade up. So that the sky's the limit. Somebody's going to love Levis. Somebody's going to love Young. Somebody's going to love Stroud. And I think they're all going in the top 5. I really do.
Mock drafts are always wrong. Mock drafts never, ever know what's going on. I mean, the people who told us, I mean, you know, there's a million different examples of mock drafts that have gone awry. I mean, they're just not, they have to put quarterbacks high. They have to do certain things. But, you know, you look at like a Bryce Young, he just flat out, I think Bryce Young's awesome. But when is a quarterback of his stature, when is a quarterback like him succeeded? You know, and again, I keep doing these comparisons, but let's say Bryce Young is just as good as Tua. Tua was really good this year, I think. But you have a lot of people who watched that this year and said, nope, Tua ain't got it. Is Bryce Young as good as Tua? Probably not. You know, so something to think about. Let me know in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen, would you trade Sean Payton to the Carolina Panthers? Would you trade him in the division? Would you do that for the picks that Mike laid out? Thank you, New Orleans Football, for uploading this video. We'll put the links and all that stuff in the description. I will see you on the next video.